Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 16. A little surreal saying that, episode 16. It's been over a year since we started this series, and can't thank all of you enough for your participation. I really do hope that it's been worthwhile, and can't thank the sponsors enough, including Averbis, who's here for the second time. A few little pieces of housekeeping. You'll notice in your control panel, there is a section for handouts. There are 2 handouts there, the slides from today, plus a nice little poster that the companies have put together to show you a little bit about how their integrated system works. There's also an opportunity to ask questions. Please ask questions at any point. I'll be monitoring the questions, and if it seems like it's the right time to go ahead and interject with these questions, I'll go ahead and do so. There'll also be time at the end. We'll save 15 minutes or so at the end. Without and there's also a survey. So please, it's only a handful of questions. Please take just a moment to answer at least the first question, and any and all feedback that you can provide would be really great. All right, so with the housekeeping out of the way, again, this is episode 16 of Averbis and Mindsoft. Jochen Landhoff and Cornel Marco are here to talk to us a little bit about the 2 platforms and what they've done to put them together to make an integrated solution. And with that, I will turn it over to these fine gentlemen to begin the presentation and the demonstration.
Thanks, Tony. Also thanks for organizing this great series. As you have said, for us it's the second time today together with Mindsoft. My name is Cornel. I'm one of the founders of Averbis. So we started Averbis more than 15 years ago in 2007. I will tell very shortly a little bit on our company, but first of all, Jochen, I hand it to you.
Yeah, thank you, Cornel. Yeah, my name is Jochen Landhoff, from working for now over 18 years now for Mindsoft. Just to what I'm doing there, I'm looking after the German-speaking market from our office in Neuss, which is close to Düsseldorf. Yeah, and I help clients to find the suitable products and solution we can offer for them for their work, and including, of course, PatBase and PatGM, which is a solution that has been around for quite a while. I was also involved in the initial pilot project that brought the German company Merck, Averbis, and Mindsoft together. So that, I guess, is one of the reasons why I'm joining this discussion today. Thank you, Connor.
Perfect. No, then I start with a very short company introduction. So Averbis is a company that has a very strong focus on machine learning and natural language processing. We are in the market with 3 products, first of which is information discovery. This is our platform product, which gives you everything you need to set up your own text mining, natural language processing, and machine learning projects. And then on top of it, we have designed health discovery. This is for analyzing clinical documents in hospitals, like discharge summaries and pathology reports. And we have a patent monitor, and this is the topic for today. At Averbis, we basically can do 2 things. The first one is categorizing documents. So here we apply machine learning that the system is able to make the same categorization and relevancy judgments as a user would do. So it's very individual for a specific user. And then secondly, it's about natural language processing. So going through a document, extracting entities, concepts, and their relationships. Here an example from the biomedical domain. In the back end, there are 4 main components or pillars. So first, we use terminologies. We heavily make use of terminologies add lexical knowledge to the system, but also to add domain knowledge as a background knowledge to the system. And we are using these terminologies then for natural language processing, as I said, to identify entities, concepts, relations, and so on and so forth. And with this generated meta information, we also feed a search index, which then allows for searching with synonyms, broader and narrow terms. And last but not least, there's this machine learning component built in here for document classification. So you see two examples of patents, and they can be categorized as being important in the area of oncology. How are our customers using our solutions? Some selected use cases, literature classification, also systematic literature review. This has been published, for example, together with Roche. We do pharmacovigilance and adverse event detection. This was also a project that we have published together with Bayer at the pharmacovigilance conference. And of course, patent search and monitoring, here with a nice quote from Syngenta. The automatic identification of patent specifications relevant to us has significantly increased productivity in our department. So, and this is, in the end, this is what it's all about. How did we achieve this, and what is Patent Monitor as an application? So as introduced, it's based on machine learning. It learns to categorize patents as well experts would do it. It is able to analyze very large volumes of patents and documents, and then, as I said, automatically classifies these documents into these freely definable categories. So it's user specific and project specific. What are the benefits of applying machine learning now for patent identification? And maybe this is something that you know better than me as patent experts. If you start with keyword searches, and they can be very complex. So what you see here on the right is an excerpt of a search strategy of one of our customers. So you see many keywords, synonyms, and combinations with Boolean operators. So it's very hard to understand and to curate such search strategies. And here I believe that machine learning really can help. You can train machine learning based models very specifically for a specific information need. And then afterwards you can apply it to very large documents collections. So you have an increase in precision and recall at the same time. And in the end, this saves your time and increases also the quality of your work. So we distinguish between the following scenarios when talking about categorization of documents and patents. First, we support the binary classification, and in most cases, it's about relevant documents and not relevant documents. But the system also supports non-binary classification, so more than 2 target categories. This is often the case if you want to categorize documents into different technological areas. Then there's this single label scenario where one document can be assigned to one category label, and in a multi-label scenario, one document can also be assigned to more than one target category. And this is the most complex form of categorization. What do you need to get started? For each of the target categories, You provide some training examples. So you identify some good examples for a specific category. In many cases, you already have historic data at hand, since you're maybe doing this job manually in the past. And as a result, you will receive a machine learning based model. And this model can then be applied to large patent collections and document collections. And as a result, again, you get these patents separated in the trained target categories. I will now also switch to a short demo how it works. So this is our application. I log in with my credentials. And as you can see, you can run multiple projects in parallel. There's also a user and a right management. Now for today, I've set up a project on ML4Patents. What you see then, this is what you see if you have administrator roles. So if you remember these 4 pillars, it was about semantic search, it was about text analysis and text mining, it was about terminologies and the classification. And today we will only focus on this classification module. The first thing that you have to do is to create the target categories. It's currently empty, and I will add a binary scenario. So we have relevant and not relevant categories as a target. The second thing is we have to provide some training data. What you see here is that already 1,600 documents have been uploaded to the system. How this works will be discussed later. On the left-hand side, you see some filters. The first 3 filters, label, confidence, and status, they refer to the classification, and now all documents are unclassified. And you also have some meta information from the patent database itself, the assignees, and here the IPC codes on a 4-character level. And you see most of them are from A47L. It's about domestic cleaning in general. And let's suppose you are interested in vacuum cleaners. So there you can use the search bar to identify potentially relevant documents. So here we have 20 documents found containing the word vacuum cleaner. And let's suppose that all of these documents are relevant for you. Then you can simply click on this button, Label Documents. The selection currently is 20. And we say, yes, this is relevant. So then I remove the selection, and what you see, there are currently 20 documents labeled. I do the same for an example of not relevant documents. To make it easy, I go for dishwashers. There are 170 documents matching this query, and I label them as being not relevant. So then I remove this selection. And what you see then is there are 190 documents approved. The other ones are unclassified. And this is the distribution of my training data. This is everything that you need to train the model. You can click on this icon to train the classifier, or a little bit more detailed. I go to the configuration. So there's already a default classifier available. It's a single label classifier. We don't go into details here. but the model is invalid because I've made changes to the training set. And here, if I click on this symbol, the model will be trained. And if I refresh, the model is ready. And you can also get some statistics. So by clicking here, these are the typical measurements for machine learning, precision recall, F1 score. And what you see here, it's for the system, it's very easy to distinguish between dishwasher and vacuum cleaners. This is only an example for today. But the important fact is that the system gives you feedback. So you always know how good the model is, how good the predictions will be, and if you maybe have to add some more training examples for the one or the other category. So this is very, very helpful. It works as follows. From your training set, it only takes 90%, trains the classifier, and then tests the remaining 10% for which you already have assigned the correct label. And this will be repeated 10 times. So you get very reliable feedback on the quality of your model. Okay, having this model, I go back to this page. And what the user then usually does, it chooses the documents that are unclassified, 1,400, and then classifies them with the model that has been chosen. So it was the default model here. So you can also have multiple classifiers. Here are the first results. Green means rather high confidence, while red means low confidence. So if I refresh, you would see there are still 500 documents that are unclassified. Only 2, 0, because they are now all auto-classified. So as a user, I click on the auto-classified ones. I'm looking for those documents with a high confidence, well, in their predictions, and then the relevant ones. So you see there are 8 documents only. So from a set of 1,400, we have reduced the set to 8 documents. And the system tells you that, for example, this patent is highly relevant for vacuum cleaners, though the word vacuum cleaners does not appear at all in the document. Otherwise, this would have been part of the training set. But you will find a dust collection capability with an improved suction force, or another one is a suction motor generating a suction force, dust separation unit. So this example shows pretty well that the model is able to take the context of your training data into account to identify such patterns. And there's a probability that if you define your search strategy with keywords and Boolean operators, that you maybe have missed to add a synonym like dust separation in this case. So here we have these 2 scenarios, a high precision for identifying relevant patterns, and a high recall, so a high precision. So you reduce the set of 1,400 to 8 documents only.
So this is one of my favorite machine learning based examples. I've tried to apply this particular method for a couple of years now, going way back to a chapter that I wrote in one of the books that came out of the the group that there's a patent information retrieval, the Wiley book. There's a chapter in there that talks about some of these types of emerging ideas. And in the book, in the chapter, I was pretty adamant that we needed to separate recall from precision. All right, and too many of these systems try and sort of smash the two together, and I think they're 2 separate issues, 2 separate problems. And what I've always loved about these binary classifiers is the ability to just say, hey, I'm going to try everything I possibly can, not be afraid of building a reasonably large collection, tens of thousands even. Trying to maximize my recall to the nth degree, to get the most recall I can do without actually just bringing down the entire database. And then separately thinking about, well, now how am I going to increase my precision? How am I going to get to the point where I've got 10,000 to start with, but within that 10,000, there may only be 500, 1,000 that are actually really relevant. And in the old days, you might need to go through them manually. You might scan titles. There's all sorts of different ways that people went about trying to identify that, to try to be as comprehensive as possible. They don't want to miss anything, but invariably that leads to a lot of extraneous records and a very low precision. This methodology, recall, is taken on separately, create the biggest sets you possibly can that has the most likelihood of containing the record you want, and then let the system, after being trained a few times, do its job of really identifying the highly relevant records. And then the ones that their confidence is not so high, you can go back and take care of those manually. And then again, retrain the model. So this method of doing this, I think, has got an enormous amount of potential. And you really should be taken advantage of by just about anybody who's doing this sort of work using traditional approaches to Boolean. There's really no reason why you can't take a traditional Boolean search and then go ahead and put a binary classifier on it and get down to a much more precise collection. So great example. I love this.
Yeah, thanks, Tony. And one nice thing also is that you can start with a really small set of training examples, and the system guides you to add more training examples. So what you can do is to give feedback to the system. You can say, okay, yes, this prediction was correct. This one was not correct. So you assign a different label, and this one was correct. And so you can provide some feedback to the system, retrain the system, regenerating results until you are happy with the evaluation results from this cross evaluation. So, all right. So this was the application patent monitor in a nutshell. One question that you may have is, how does it integrate into your daily work, into your workflow? Well, you can use Patent Monitor as a standalone application. So upload your patent information via Excel sheets and then train and classify documents just as demonstrated right now. You can also integrate it into your IT environment. So if you have developers at hand, they can fully control Patent Monitor from remote by using the API, uploading documents, assigning labels to the training documents, and of course then also the classification. There's a full integration in CentreDocs Rapid. So this is another tool in the market. And if you are a user of Rapid 5, you also immediately have access to this categorization functionality. And since we have Jochen here, there's also a connectivity to PatBase and PatKM, the PatKM archive. And here I will hand over to Jochen, who will introduce PatBase and the PatKM archive for alerting.
Okay, thank you very much, Connor. Since we learned how to train the Patent Monitor, I just would like to give you just a short introduction about Mindsoft, what we actually do and why we are here together today. And also I will go online and show you how it looks like from a user perspective. If you do not know anything about Mindsoft, we have been company established in '96. Since then, we have focused on mainly web-based software solution for the IP community and working together with mostly large corporation, but also smaller ones, patent attorneys, and also service companies. Basically, anybody who's dealing on a regular basis with patent information. From the beginning as well, what we did, or what our main focus is, that we collect patent information worldwide. So we create databases that then are enriched with machine translation, also legal information, and just try to provide you an access to this information. And one database is, some of you may know, is PatBase, where we have now over 160 million patent documents stored. And as you also know, that the amount of patents that are available is growing on a day-by-day basis. So the question is now, how do I find the relevant documents that are the ones I'm actually looking for? I can use my PatBase interface and do a patent search, but I can also do an automated alerting and monitoring of the technology or competitors I'm interested in. And this is why we have the so-called patent or patent knowledge management module, which is then integrated into the PatBase database. So this allows you to systematically monitor all the relevant information you're interested in, and also have a way to distribute this information within your organization. It also allows you to add comments and making an evaluation, which is later then searchable via the PatBase PatKM interface. So this is the general idea behind these two solutions, specifically with the PatKM workflow. So here's a just simple idea how it looks like. So if you look on the left side, you create a PatKM alert. You create the profile, and then once, if it's weekly run, it takes the data from PatBase or the new published data and creates an initial result list. And this will be then sent to a person, a reviewer, and this person then can look into this initial record and decide what to do with these records. So it can then forward, if it's relevant, to an inspector for the next step. But it can also send it to other inspectors, or it can just ignore it because it might be for the current project or workflow not be relevant. So once this has been done, all the relevant documents are sent to the inspection on the right side. And here you have usually a technical expert that can then only look at the relevant documents and add comments and doing its evaluation. And once this is finished, it will be then stored in the PatKM database and will be then available for searching via the interface. Okay, this is what the user actually does with PatBase and PatKM. Now, in some cases, I think Conor already mentioned it, it's not possible to create an alert that maybe create a suitable amount of information, or it needs to be so broad and create so much noise that you may not be able to reduce it to a suitable amount, or to identify by a human or by a person to create the relevant information. And this is when the patent monitor is used in this setup. It will use an API interface to grab the alert from PatBase and the relevant information, and then using the trained engine and categorize this information. And then once it has been done, it will then forward this information again via an API back to the PatKM for the inspection workflow. So this is basically the idea behind it. So you can decide which way you want to go. For some situations, it goes this way or the other way with the patent monitor, depending on the subject and the strategy you're running for. But in both ways, the user who's involved in the inspection doesn't really need to get involved with the patent monitor. And that's a basic idea. So we have, and that's also why we started this project, because we had a client who's using PatBase and workflow, and then did the PatKM, but they were also having already experience with Averbis. And based on this setup, we just came together and saw that it might be also a useful addition to our workflow using the patent monitor from Averbis. So if I go just to have a quick look how it actually looks like. So this is the PatBase interface. I just log in and see my PatBase interface. I'm just doing a quick search with the expert mode here on the left bottom side with the command line, just to show you that PatKM is not only a workflow system, but it also provides a feature that allows you to add these evaluation information. So here I have a result, quite broad as well, just searching for cooking and outdoor. I go on view, I see my initial set of results. If I scroll down, I even have a highlighting. And now what I can do very quickly, here are what we call the PatKM fields. If I click this button, I can just add some information, for example, using a class tree, and just add anything that is that might be suitable. I can also add a project and or just assign it, put an ML4, just a quick note. So I just do my evaluation. So this is on an ad hoc basis, but as I mentioned, in some cases it's better to have a weekly monitoring. And with this, I have these additional feature here in my PatBase interface. This is the additional feature from PatKM, and I can create an alert, or I can just look at my available alerts. And these are my PatKM alerts I already set up. And there's one as well for cooking vessels. I have a reviewer. So this is a person who gets this review information. And then I have a preset list of inspectors. I see when did it run, and how many results I received in this week, 42 in the year 2022. So I would get an email, but I can also, when I log in, and now I'm playing the role of a reviewer, I see here on top my my pending reviews. And so here's my cooking vessel, 205 results. I already opened it this afternoon. And if I click on open, I see that I have a long list of results. I can just go and assign these to different inspectors. I can add more inspectors if I want, but I can just go to the next one and just go through my list and continue my work. If I find something that is not relevant, I just ignore it. I can just scroll down and just do my job. And once I'm finished, or I want to go for lunch, I just interrupt this inspection. I click here on the bottom of create an inspection, and then the results that have been already assigned are sent to the relevant technical experts or the inspectors. And then I can also go to, I just need to refresh. I get an email because I'm again playing the role as well as an inspector. I see here my pending inspections now. I click here, and if I'm now a technical inspector, instead of 205 results, I'm only getting the 3 that are relevant for me. I just open the window, and now I have my, sorry, I just need to move this away. And now I have my inspection fields. I also have the classification tree. I can add anything I need, and I can also add a comment. So this is what I do. I can go to the next one. The information is saved, so I can continue and working with my workflow. So we have seen from Corner that he also created information and also results based on the patent monitor on the on this system. So where do I find it? Now if the patent monitor did his work, it already pushed the results and the inspections back to the PatKM system. I just need to go to admin and see of the list manage inspections. And here, I'm just playing now a different role. I see here the results that came from the patent monitor. And he set up the ML4 patents, and the ones that are irrelevant, they are still shown. So if you like to see them, so you get always a feedback. So how many results did I find together? But here are the ones actually that are then the relevant ones. And I can start as an inspector instead of looking at the other 400. I just take the 10 results that are relevant for my project. And now I'm looking at dust collecting and Hoover and cleaners. And of course, I should have also a technology tree for cleaner. So I can just, as a technology expert, can just look into this patent and make the right assignments and evaluations. And once it's done, I go back to PatBase or PatKM. I can, of course, search for this information and just do whatever I've entered into my into the system. I can always. Oh, what did I do? Okay, this is of course when I show it. I just go on clear and see if I found something here. Okay, so it worked this a few minutes ago. I don't know why it's not working. Maybe I just tick a box somewhere. Anyway, you can believe, well, here I have done it. So it should be here. Sorry, it was just initial response. But anyway, so I just found my results here. So this is the information that has been added to the PatKM fields, and I can search for it. So this is basically the idea of the PatBase and the PatKM solution. Okay, Cornel.
So just a comment here, and then there's also a question. While I'm talking and asking the question, I'm going to go ahead and change the presenters again, just so we're ready to do that. So the real beauty or the real power of PatKM is really the flexibility of it. I've had an opportunity to work with the system and really in a very, very detailed way, creating technology trees that are many, many layers deep and have many, many branches, and look at companies, product forms. There's just all sorts of different levels of detail that you can add to these trees, which makes it an extraordinarily powerful knowledge management and database, basically collective memory on what's going on. You know, I recently wrote a paper, World Patent Information, that talked about knowledge management with patent-related documents. A lot of what I cover in that paper can be seen and exemplified with PatKM. So if you talk to any of the people at Mindsoft about it, I'm sure they'll be happy to talk with you about that particular paper and show you, how their particular system could be applied to that. And so it's really very, very powerful. We did have a question. So this one will be for Cornel, and the question was, in the initial example where you were doing the binary classification, what fields were being analyzed? So what text was being analyzed for relevancy in that particular example?
Yeah. So usually we use title, abstract, and description sections, but you're free to also add the claim section or even the assignee. So you can use every metadata that is available in the source patent database. We experience that best results can be achieved with title, abstract, and description, and interestingly, not claims. So, yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Right. So what comes next? a short step-by-step guide how to set up the workflow patent monitor with PatBase and PatKM. It's very easy. So the first step was how to train and set up the system. So here you can use the PatBase folders directly to feed the system. So if you store your searches in a PatBase folder, or if you're collecting specific patents in your folders, the relevant ones and the irrelevant ones, then you can directly import these folders into Patent Monitor and train and test the classifier. So this is the starting point. You have folders in PatBase. So here we have set up 3 different folders already with relevant and irrelevant examples. So this may be your historic data. And then also test collection. So you're completely free to add folders to import. Then you switch to Patent Monitor. Here you enter your PatBase credentials together with an API key that you will receive from your Microsoft representative or from Jochen. And immediately the folders will be displayed, and you can choose which folders to import. And then it looks like this. As seen before, you have these folders in Patent Monitor. You can label the data. You can train the system and get the classification results or the evaluation results. So this is something that you have to do one time, train the classifier, and once the classifier is available, you can then create the alert in PatKM. You configure the workflow in Patent Monitor, which is also very easy, and then, as Jochen has introduced, you can view the weekly alerts directly in PatKM, so there's no need any longer to switch between the systems. This is how you create the alert in PatBase. As Jochen has showed, you assign a name for the alert and then the strategy. And then again, one time you have to switch to Patent Monitor. You, with the same credentials, you select the alerts that you have created. You select the classifier that you have trained. And then the alerts will be automatically stored in the PatKM archive on a weekly basis or monthly. So the single point of entry for you as a user would be to go into the PatKM archive, because the results, the classification results, will already be stored in your archive. This is how it looks like, as Jochen has introduced. So from last week, there were more than 400 results from the alert, and you see the irrelevant ones in batches of 200, sorry, and 10 relevant ones. So you can open them and then continue the workflow as Jochen has showed. So some success stories, and this is also what Jochen has already mentioned in the beginning. So we had this project together with Merck. So this was our first joint project. The result has been published in the last year AI Star conference. The scenario at Merck is they have more than 50 alerts running every week, producing more than 300 hits. So more than 15,000 in a year. And what they know is because they have to filter the results manually, 90% of the results are not relevant. They are not of interest. And so they use exactly the workflow as introduced. They use PatBase for the initial searches and for creating the alerts. They use Patent Monitor for the classification, and the PatKM for inspecting the results. And they also did a quality check So they found out that that this scenario reduces the manual work by 90% with a very high accuracy of 98%. In a very similar scenario, we have at Syngenta. They also use PatBase, and in PatKM, they also use a patent monitor. We set up the same scenario. They evaluated the results, and here again, 99% precision, and at the same time, reducing the noise from 72% to 14%, which then corresponds to a time saving of 70%. This was also a very complex scenario. It was about gene editing and CRISPR, so it's a very complex technology, and also with a very high patenting activity. So there are really many results from the others. One last thing that I want to mention, this is an academic evaluation done by the Swiss Patent Office. So have a look at this article. You can download the slides and these links afterwards. So they already also evaluated 3 or 4 different scenarios using the patent monitor in their workflow. So to come to an end and to conclude, so I want to emphasize that this scenario that we have described here is really not a toy scenario or a feasibility study. So now it's part of their everyday routine in a productive environment. The great benefits is, of course, you receive less irrelevant hits, so it simply saves you a lot of time, and at the same time, you even can increase precision, increase the quality by identifying more relevant hits. You can expect to have the same quality or accuracy if compared to human experts. So if you have a scenario where 2 of your experts, they agree in, let's say, 98% of all cases, this is also what you can expect from machine learning based categorization. If it's a more complex scenario with multiple categories and more than one category assigned to a document, then the human experts will maybe agree in 85% of all cases. And then again, this is also what you can expect from this machine learning procedure. We have shown that there's a very easy seamless integration into the PatBase and PatKM workflows. And as I've mentioned, also an integration in Sonderdocs Rapid 5. So, and now it's up to you. Save time, focus on relevant documents only, increase the quality of your work. We are very happy to answer all of your questions. And if you're interested in more information, a demo, or even a trial, simply contact us. So thank you for your attention.
So one question I have, and then there's a question in the box. You didn't emphasize it, but an earlier version I saw of this, I just want to make sure that this was something that's still operable, and because I think it's potentially very useful, is if you create a folder with results within PatBase, for instance, and then set up the API key and the integration with Patent Monitor, you can, for instance, run a binary classification on just that folder within Patent Monitor, and then send back the relevant results. So am I correct in that's still available? If people, of course, the PatKM solution is great. PatKM, generally speaking, for a long-term monitoring and multi-classification and lots of other things, is a tremendous solution. But if you just have a result set that you want to increase your precision on. Is that still a possibility with the system as it currently stands?
Yeah. So currently you cannot store the results directly in a PatBase folder. So this is not supported by the API. Maybe something that follows. What you can do, you can import your PatBase folders, make the classification, and then export the classification results and re-import them into a PatBase folder. So this is a scenario that works. Up until now, the automatic workflow for storing the results in PatBase or PatKM is only via PatKM.
Okay, but you can still run the classifier, find the relevant results, export the patent numbers, import them back up into PatBase.
Yes, this is very easy to do. But as I said, we are already working on another solution for storing the results in folders as well.
Yeah, just a little bit more seamless between the two and pushing back and forth. Okay.
Just to add a note from Mindsoft as well. I mean, we always like it's never been like a solution that is built into stone. So once there's a business case and then the requirements, and of course, you know, we're always looking forward to see what is possible. We have the technology with the API, and we have a very good relationship with Averbis and also their technical team. So once we find the requirements and the need from the client side, of course, we will see what kind of solution we can integrate as well and can develop this. So this is how we always worked, and this is how we continue working. And that was also the reason why we came together with Averbis, because there was obviously the demand and the requirements to find a solution like this. Thank you.
All right. Well, there's one question. If you have any questions, please go ahead and put them into the box. And thank you for everybody who's stuck with us. The vast majority of the audience has been with us this entire time. Please take a few moments at the very end as you're leaving to fill out the survey. But this question came in: using machine learning will focus on known technologies. Are there methods for watching for new fields or disruptive technologies? Is it a question of frequently doing manual evaluation of what falls outside the so-called relevant results? So can you comment on your thoughts, your philosophies on disruptive technologies within certain fields?
Yeah, this is very difficult to answer. So the approach that we follow here is a supervised learning approach. So the expert provides examples of relevant documents, and if you have a disruptive technology that you want to identify, then of course there are no examples for it. So for this scenario, supervised learning will not help. So there you have to use a different methodology that is currently not supported by Patent Monitor. It's very suitable for scenarios where you have a lot of routine work to be done, like screening documents and check whether they're relevant or not. So here, machine learning can help a lot for saving time, but for identifying new trends and disruptive technologies, it's a little bit more difficult.
Okay. All right. Well, there's one other question. I'm not entirely sure if you're going to be able to answer this. Feel free to say that you can get back to this person afterwards. But the question is, how many clients are indexing the National Library of Medicine, NIH, Mesh thesaurus with the PatBase thesaurus?
Mm-hmm. There are a couple of customers. So for the literature review and literature classification scenario, so there we have this product called Information Discovery, which also comes with a connector to PubMed, where you can search PubMed directly from information discovery, and also to set up the same kind of alerting. So far, out of the box, we have PubMed connectivity, and of course you can use Mesh and any other thesaurus. There are many in the biomedical domain to make keyword assignments, to extract relationships between these entities in documents. So we are very experienced in that area.
All right. Well, thank you. This will be our last question. Somebody has asked about FTO, freedom to operate type searches, specifically claim-centered searches. Are there any restrictions with regards to the portions of the documents that are being used in the models?
I'm not sure whether I can assess this question correctly. But especially for FTO analysis, the approach works very well, because you decrease the probability that you miss important information. Maybe because your search strategy does not cover a particular document, or an IPC code was missing in the patent document. So you can really define a broad search strategy and identify relevant documents that you would have missed otherwise. And so there are there are many customers, they use it for FTO analysis, because it's very important for them to not miss any potentially relevant document. Yeah.
Okay, and actually,
I hope that this was was answering the question.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like claims is something that you could set up the model on. So I think that's likely. One last question, actually, that just came in. I think it can be answered quickly in the next 2 minutes. It seems relevant. Can somebody import data directly into Patent Monitor from PatBase without the API? Yeah, so is there an opportunity to? Now, you said earlier that if you have a spreadsheet, for instance, so if you do an export, but what would you guys say about taking results out of PatBase, putting them into Patent Monitor, and then taking them back without having to incorporate the API?
Yeah. No, therefore we need the API. Of course, these are two different companies, two different products. We both opened our products by the API, and I think this is also the way to the future. What I see at customers, they are not using only one tool or one patent database. So they combine different tools from different vendors, and I think this is the way for the future, to open the systems and to let them interact with each other.
I think it's also a coverage issue. I mean, you can export patent numbers from PatBase and then use these numbers to gather the information from public sources, from public patent offices. But I think it's a problem. It makes the process more complex. I think I think the benefit of using, for example, PatBase is you have a cleaned and normalized database, and you get all the relevant information you need for training an engine like the Patent Monitor. I think that was.
But now I can also see the question in the chat. So the question was whether data from PatBase can be imported to Patent Monitor without PatKM. So the answer is yes. You can do your searches in PatBase, store the results in a folder, and you can import it without PatKM module. So.
Okay, so I got the question wrong as well. So obviously.
Okay, you can also export the fields, import using an Excel file or any CSV into Averbis. So it's not like you're getting public information from elsewhere. You're getting PatBase data from PatBase and then importing it up into. So that's relevant as well. In any event, we're at the top of the hour. Thank you, everybody, for your time and attention. We're going to go ahead and close this down. Please fill out the survey. If there are additional questions, there is a place in the survey to put in those questions, and somebody from one of these two companies will get back to you. So again, thank you for your time today, both the people who were online with us and also our presenters. Again, really appreciate everybody's support, and have a great rest of your day.
Okay. Thank
Thanks,
you very
Tony.
much. Have a nice day. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Connor.
All right.
All the pleasure. Thank you. Bye-bye.